we want to talk to an analyst who initiated coverage of the stock today. That's Colin Langan over at Wells Fargo. And he initiated with an equal weight rating. The price target is $590. Colin is with us now. Colin, it's good to have you here. Tesla, we talk frequently on the show. We were just talking about some of the meme stocks, AMC, et cetera. We talk a lot about companies whose stock price is seemingly divorced from reality. And I think Tesla falls into that category. But at the same time, it doesn't seem to matter. The stock keeps going up. So how do you think about a stock like Tesla?
Yeah, I mean, I think it obviously is a lot of momentum in this stock, I guess, to kind of put it out easily. I mean, and you have to believe a lot for the long-term story, but I mean, you also have to, from my perspective, have a pretty clear catalyst on one way or the other. And that's really why we initiated with an equal weight. I think in the near term, there are some good news that we see coming. I think deliveries will come in slightly better than expected as they continue to ramp in China. And they are really probably going to be one of the biggest, if not by far the biggest beneficiary if we roll out some additions to the U.S. EV tax credits. They've lost their credits, and reinstating those would be a big help for them. Those used to be $7,500. So those are two big positive catalysts for the stock. That said, we've highlighted three different issues. Raw material costs on the battery side are up about 50% since the start of the year. That will roll in as their contracts reset, but that's a headwind to think about. I think one thing we've been talking to investors that seems to be a little underappreciated is the regulatory risk. There's been some pretty scathing comments from the head of the NTSB about sort of the lack of driver monitoring and certain systems within autopilot. So there really is a risk that we could see some more regulations come down the pipe. And then I think as you go into next year, there's a ton of capacity coming online, and they need to basically set, record well beyond almost twice the record luxury sedan and SUV volumes with the 3 and the Y to meet the capacity that they'll have in place. So a little bit of ways till that capacity comes online, but that will be an issue at that point.
And Colin, it's Myles here. I know you're initiating the coverage here and just kind of giving a broad sketch of how you're modeling Tesla today. But I just want to ask longer term. I mean, you're looking at a 10% terminal growth rate, and the stock is fully valued on that rate today. Are there possible drivers to make you look more positively long term? Because I see 10% terminal growth rate for an auto manufacturer, and to me that basically makes it the best auto manufacturer of all time already right now.
Well, I totally see your concern. I mean, I think as we look at it in 10 years, they need to be about, 12 million cars, which would be bigger than anyone today. So there's a lot of optimism priced in. That said, I mean, 12 million cars in a world of probably 100 million cars is not an insane amount of share. And if you really believe in the long-term story, and obviously there are many investors that do, they're willing to believe that. From my perspective, that that's a lot priced in, which is a factor in our equal weight.
Colin, do you bake in any Elon Musk risk into your models? Look, the past 2 months, he seemingly has spent more time tweeting about Dogecoin than on the factory floor at Tesla.
I mean, I actually, to be honest, I think most, if you look at investors that are bullish on the name, they kind of look past some of his unique habits. Definitely gets away with things that most traditional auto companies would not be able to get away with. But he also, to his credit, I think he's an innovator. He sort of has a visionary. He gets, is able to bring in some great talent into the company, and that's a competitive advantage. And so I think the bulls on the stock clearly are willing to look past those issues. So the truth is, I think most people are putting a premium for a lot of things that most companies wouldn't get credit for. You're talking about I am highly skeptical about their ability to do autonomous rideshare without LiDAR. Most experts think that's not possible, but most bulls will give them some sort of credit for that business. They're giving them credit for, the solar and stationary storage business, which really hasn't been profitable, and actually solar seems to have been shrinking. But I think people are saying that, he's done amazing things on the car side, and so they're giving him credit for these other opportunities, which, have yet to be proven.
Do you like seeing Tesla hold Bitcoin on its balance sheet?
I I think it's a bit of a distraction. So I'm not really sure I understood the benefit of doing that. I don't know that I would advise most other auto companies to go out and buy Bitcoin.
Well, that one and a half billion, whatever it might be, is that better invested in the core of the business?
Well, I mean, they have $17 billion in cash. They actually made money off of it. It's not how I would, recommend most companies to place their cash. But, what am I to say? I mean, they actually made a profit already. So.
Hey, Colin, you mentioned you didn't think they could go full autonomous in an effective way without LiDAR. There was a report earlier in the week that they were talking to Luminar about maybe doing some kind of testing with their LiDAR technology, even though Elon Musk has been vocally skeptical, right, of LiDAR. Do you think he goes back, he's reversed positions on a lot of things before. Do you think he reverses course on LiDAR and says, yes, we're going to use it in the cars?
It's a tough question. I mean, I actually don't think he is. I mean, a lot of people are saying that they're testing the LiDAR to validate their own system. It's sort of a big shift in promises and a massive shift in strategy. And quite frankly, if they start with LiDAR today, then, in the camera-based technology, they would, clearly have an argument for a head start. If they start LiDAR today, then they're actually in a big sort of deficit compared to everybody else without having tested with those sensors. And companies like Waymo, Argo AI, Cruise have all been testing with LiDAR for many years now.
Yeah, it's a good point. Colin, great to get your perspective this morning. Colin Langan is an analyst at Wells Fargo who covers Tesla and a lot of the other automakers. Thanks, Colin.